let's get on with this. Are you all awake? Good. So there's this thing coming up, isn't there, called the referendum. In, out, shake it all about and all that. I'm one of the bad guys, I'm voting out. There's a reason for it, or 5 of them actually. But, so we're going to concentrate on what it means to people who actually live here in this country. I want to dedicate this to a friend of me and the wife. This one goes out to Jali Bakari. This is he used to live opposite us in the Gambia, and he went the back way. That's what they call it out there. It's the Libya to Italy run, and he managed to get there, but unfortunately the 2 guys that he went with were on the 2nd boat and they didn't make it in the draft. So this is called Tossed Against the Side of 7. These are not my people. These are not my friends. These are not my people. These are not my friends. Those whose talk is cheap could never make amends for the suffering and pain they inflict upon us still. Who will weep for us when we cry? Who will pray for us as we die? These are not my people. These are not my friends. We who dare to dream, we who dare to try, we who are not your kind, sitting and watching behind your man-made barrier, offering us one last scream captured for eternity before it's shared with the world on your social media. No, these are not my people. These are not my friends. My people know heartbreak. My people know suffering. My people know when to cry. My people who have never known your freedom. My people know how to die. Cheers. Yeah, €35 a week is what he survives on at the bottom of Italy. It's just for trying to get to Europe. Because he's not allowed in the real one. Worrying that, isn't it? But we'll get to that. This is called Frontline and Freezing. A solitary hawk flies overhead, not realising that, should I wish to, I could send a small heat-seeking missile up its tail feathers. It's not so much the contempt it shows for danger, but then, this is her country, not mine. Fingers freezing under gloved hands, we sit and watch and we sit and wait. Surrounded on all sides by guns, assailed by the cold, the damp which eats into your very being. And when the wind drops and the light drizzle replaces it, impairing visibility down to 200 yards. If anything is to happen, then now is the time. Vigilance, that is what we need. Not frozen feet and frozen fingers. Join the army and see the world. Join the army and see the world's misery is more like it. 2 miles away, the town lies in ruins. The inhabitants scurry around like rats, feeling happy in their holes, happy and safe. 3 years of war have left them numb and shell-shocked. Their world consists of what to eat today. There are no tomorrows, not for them. There is only today. Camaraderie, that is what we have, or had, if truth be told. Now we sit and watch, and sit and freeze, facing 2 sides who have fought each other for centuries, both of whom are guilty of the most appalling crimes. Camaraderie, a euphemism for watching the next guy's back. When our time is up, we'll all be glad to leave this place, hands tied by the politicians. Therefore we cannot fight. We can, however, fire back if we are attacked. But the wrong decision could cost more than our lives. It could cost another war. Someone want to tell me what peace costs these days? So we sit between the lines and we wait, knowing that we feel their sniper scopes and night sights, caught up in a world of danger and anguish, where happiness is measured in the warmth of your hands and feet or a full belly, but not in the flight of a hawk. Cheers. I'm going to inject my humorous one now. Inject is right, actually. My wife, who is sitting in the audience, filming me, excuse me, will know that When you work for a council and you've got you go out in an unmarked van, as we used to do, it's always good to have somebody looking after the van. And we did have somebody looking after our van for 3 weeks until the bosses discovered it was there and it had to go. And while that was going on, I wrote this. This is called "Last Night My Girl Went Down on Me." Yeah, I know, the title, I know. Last night my girl went down on me. Hey, listen now, don't mock. Last night my girl went down on me and it came as quite a shock. She'd never done that trick before, she'd been so ladylike. And I didn't know what I should do, nor what she now would like. I sat her up, I laid her down, then tried her end to end. But she wouldn't cease her wriggling and it drove me round the bend. She stopped when she had finished, when my flag now flew half-mast. I'd have to be more gentle if our relationship were to last. So here's a little free advice for when your girl wants to stop. A puncture repair kit saves the embarrassment of taking her back to the shop. It's true, we had a blow-up doll and we dressed her and left her in the van. And unfortunately, it lasted for 3 weeks and then the bosses saw it and went, ape shit, I think is the expression. But you've got to have some fun, I mean, Jesus. Councils are such dry places. Half of them are here tonight, so I really ought to be I ought to be a bit careful. Anyway, I want to do one. I'll dedicate one to the kids because this really is for them. 2 of whom are on my T-shirt with their cuz. There they are. 1, 2. This one's Sybil, Mariana in real life, and this one's Little Miss Harley. I won't tell you how she got that nickname, but if you ever find out, you'll have a broken nose. Okay? Jalika, her name is. And I did this thing last year. They rewrote a rock classic. We took them out some T-shirts because they like their rock band T-shirts, and they're actually wearing them on here. Ramones T-shirts, but the Ramones aren't played on West African radio, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but that was last year. And so they took away the computer and they listened to the Ramones and they came back and they said, we really like this track, but it's not the sort of thing that we do. So I said, take it away and make it more African. And they did. And then whilst we were doing the gig here last year, we were waiting for their visa application to come through. We wanted them to spend 7 weeks during the summer holidays with us, and we got the usual reply for African children: if you come in, we don't think you'll go back, so you're not coming in. So, you know, there's a few £100 wasted for starters. Went straight to the treasury. But the kids, bless them, I said they were really upset about it, as they would be. And I said, well, if all you've got to fight with are your drums and your voices, use them. So they did. And this is about that. It's called It All Started With Those T-shirts. So this one's for... Oh, I don't... Mariana and Julie, and the rest of them. It all started with those T-shirts we gave the kids that day. They like their rock band T-shirts because they like to sing and play, but their culture being different, they didn't know the band. The Ramones aren't played on African radio, they're not represented in their land. So it started with those T-shirts, and who are the Ramones? And can we listen to something? This is music we don't know. It isn't rap or reggae, and it's not what we would do, but it's got a beat, and it's got a heart, and a really good intro too. So I told them all to go away and to see what they could do. Without guitars, they're up against it. Drums and shakers might not do. We'll see if they can come up with something they could play. If the time signatures of Western rock are alien to them anyway. But they went and rewrote the whole damn song. Kept some key lines in for reference. And they're happy with the words they wrote, which have really made a difference. Their song is now from Africa. They've made it all their own. It comments upon their neighbours who left their countries to find new homes, dying by the boatload because the EU won't let them in. And they all know some who didn't make it. Their village has its fair share of them. 6 months later, they have an arrangement. And that took quite a bit of work. Minutes snatched when they got back from school after doing their homework, and this one uses voices, a tambourine, shaker and a drum. But their attitude has changed somewhat. The song isn't sung for fun. It's sung to fight injustice. It's sung to illustrate the plight of those who have to go the back way, who do not have the right to even visit parents who live in the UK, like those 3 little girls from the Gambia who rewrote that song that day. But now they're up on YouTube for the whole wide world to see, to put to shame the UK government and their apartheid policy. And it all started with those T-shirts and who are the Ramones? But it's now become a battleground to bring our children home. For we've not stopped fighting either. One day this injustice has to stop. From the mouths of babes and children. Blood sisters, Blitzkrieg Bop. Cheers. And if I can get the machine to work, now you're going to hear them. If, big if. The question you must answer as you wake up here today is one of, are you willing to turn your face away as the governments of this continent where fear and graft hold sway sell off their people's birthright in Africa today? That's Africa today. That's Africa today. Corruption born of ignorance in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. Democracy's rank hypocrisy tells lies to this day as the liberals give to charity and the pious kneel to pray. It might seem to count for something, but it means less anyway than the yokes and chains of slavery kept on Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. Freedom always out of reach in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. Warlords seeking power whose name is changed by the day. They steal the wealth of nations but don't have much to say, as they rape and kill their people from tribal jealousies, creating yet more refugees from Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. Old hatreds brought right up to date in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. Where religion equals power, blood cannot be washed away. And men with guns and men with beards want everything their way. To justify their barbarism and to stay in power this day, they'll tell you it's the will of God in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. Where extremists fan the fires of hate in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. Bombs go off in shopping centres, the innocent will pay. Give shelter to the terrorists is the new Pan-African way. What's the use in sending aid when leaders look the other way? Murderers escaping justice in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. Sanctimonious hypocrisy from Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. Tin pot dictators rule the roost, armies back them all the way, frightened of the coup d'etat that brought them to power that day, while critics of their regimes are imprisoned every day and journalists sleep with crocodiles in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. Another step back to the past in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. The UN wrings its hands again and the West just turns away from the poverty and violence on their TV screen this day. Tragedy follows massacre, bodies rotting where they lay or buried in a shallow grave in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. A small paragraph in a newspaper from Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. The West buys up the mining rights for a fraction of their worth. Shareholders pack the boardrooms full of jollity and mirth. A continent in bondage hardly matters anyway when blood diamonds adorn supermodels in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. Where the Swiss franc is worshipped as a god in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. Bribery and corruption go hand in hand with power. Politicians, judges and the police getting richer by the hour. There's always someone out there needs a problem to go away. Solutions all come at a price in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. Where rich men can all distort the truth in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. Progress advancing slowly, fear of change gets in the way. The hospitals are full of those who are dying day by day. A short life full of hardship is still the village way when witch doctors sprinkle herbs around in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. Where wealth is spent on arms, not health in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. But light escapes the darkness and it won't be swept away. Sent round the world from mobile phones to your computer screen this day. The truth is there for everyone, a fact no one can gainsay. You cannot hide the atrocities now in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. A change is really going to come in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. There's a generation growing up who have something to say. They've seen the errors of the past. They know a better way. With the empowerment of women, they get stronger every day and they'll lead the revolution in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. The stone has started rolling in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. But now their children go to school as happy as can be. Education gives them all the means to cast off their slavery. Mama Lion is awake and her cubs yearn to be free, so she'll fight until the gates of hell in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. Where the drums now beat for freedom in Africa today. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. Tear off the chains that tie you down. Just cast them away. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. The hopes and prayers of all free men will be with you on that day. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. Where the drums now beat for freedom. That's Africa today. That's Africa today. The drum now beats for freedom. That's Africa today. Thank you. How long have I got, Grant?
About 4 minutes.
4 minutes, Jesus wept. Better do this one then, haven't we? Yeah, Europe. Horrible place, really, isn't it? Either way, you lose. You vote in, we lose. You vote out, we lose. We're fighting an apartheid system on the border that unfortunately all ideologies support. White people come in, black, brown people don't. It's as simple as that. Well, you can, but they put you through the hoops. We've had one refusal for a holiday. We've got one refusal which is on appeal for one, this one here. And we found out that in advance that they refuse you if you don't have a TB test. So we got a TB test done. We thought, cracked it, sorted, no sweat. We got refused. Got to have a DNA test. You couldn't fucking believe it, could you? But yeah, so we've passed that. Now we've spent 1,500 quid on the lawyers, and now we've got to go to court and all that shit. But we're not stopping. We're going to keep on fighting. And the Tories, the Labour Party and the Liberal Democrats should all be bloody well ashamed of themselves for allowing this to occur. Especially Jeremy Corbyn, because he was not in favour of it. But he won't say anything about it. Because at the moment he says something about it, they'll say that he's in favour of uncontrolled immigration, and another 10 million people will join UKIP, which is, it's the unfortunate part of it. But, there you go. But I'm not voting against the children, and I'm not voting for apartheid, so I'm voting out. Nobody will tell us what would happen if we vote out, because we can't get replies from any MP. We did get a reply from ours: Stephen doesn't do immigration, get a lawyer. Which was pretty much the same as what happened when I went into the Labour Party offices the November before the election and asked for help. We don't talk about immigration. Would you leave, please? Yeah, right. Nice one. So if you'd like to all rise, I have the new European national anthem here. No? I don't blame you, I'd hold it in contempt as well.
No.
So here we go, this is my last one, finishing with this. Europe, Europe, uber alles, says the UK must not leave. The Union is a must for all of us, no concession, no reprieve. Enforcing laws, no one agrees with enforcing laws that hurt us so. Europe, Europe, uber alles, if that's democracy, then it has to go. Tories rule with Labour cronies, the UK parties all agree. Europeans all are welcome, African or Asian need not apply. If they do not fit the profile, if they're at war and need to flee, Europe, Europe, uber alles, will watch them drowning in the sea. Europe, Europe, uber alles, fortress Europe stands alone. Borders shut to African families, we don't want them, send them home. Their Court of Human Rights denies us, but family life's their guarantee. Europe, Europe, uber alles, what price do you put on humanity? Cheers and good night.